Why? Why? No idea what that is, what it does, or where it's from. Bugger. Hello, and we're back again. So today what we're going to do is we're going to be stripping the wheels down, so get the bearings out, obviously remove the front discs. I will also be removing the tyres, but obviously I won't be doing that here as I don't have a tyre machine in my garage, but I do have one in my workshop. So we'll be stripping them. I might video it, but removing tyres isn't really that exciting. Also going to do a Q&A, as I've had a few messages of people asking various questions about bits and pieces. So I think we'll start with the Q&A, get that out of the way. Obviously if anybody else has any questions, please do send them in and I will answer them as best I can. So, first question, why a CBR? Now I've been asked this, I've lost count of how many times I've been asked it. And basically, I like it. It was my first ever big bike, and it is actually this one that we're putting back together. That is my first ever big bike. Obviously I had 125s and all that before that. But yeah, I loved it. I seen it, I fell in love with it, and I really wanted it. So I bought it, and I loved it, and I went everywhere on it. And it's just that style and that 80s look. I think it's quite individual. All bikes sort of look different then as well, obviously 70s bikes as well. And then you get the modern day bikes and I think they look very samey, but that's just my opinion. There's nothing wrong with modern bikes. Yeah, they go like stink and some of them do look quite nice, but I think they look very samey. And it's just that overall styling, feel, handling. You know, you've actually got to ride the bike. It doesn't do it for you. None of the luxuries of ABS and stuff like that. I mean, I've got like a 95 Daytona sitting over there looking at us. And again, it's just that styling of just the way they look, basically. I think they're brilliant. Also, when I got this CBR, when I bought it, I stumbled across a video and it was from Roadcraft Nottingham. And it was just a quick review that he'd done on the CBR that he's got. And he just loves it. He absolutely loves it. And I'm much the same. And it was just like, I used to go out with lads and they'd have like modern bikes and stuff like that and say, oh, what you got that old piece of shit for? But I just loved it, simple as. But yeah, Roadcraft Nottingham absolutely loves his bike. I know he watches some of these videos. I'm not sponsored by him or anything like that, but watch his videos. If I can find them out, I'll put a link to some of them up there or something like that. But yeah, so top and bottom of it, I love it. Next one is colour schemes. Do I know what colour I'm painting it? Short answer, no. Long answer, no. I'm torn. Obviously on the last video I put on, I put a few images on there of colour schemes. Now I do obviously like the turquoise one. I don't know why, I just do, but obviously with that I would have to change the seats, obviously paint the end can, stuff like that, and I don't think I'm going to go down that route. So as of yet I'm not decided on the final colour scheme, but we can do the basics, obviously the likes of the frame, the forks and stuff like that. So once I know, you will know, and we'll take it from there. So the next question is my technical background. So my technical background is basically I am a car, van, light truck mechanic. I say mechanic, I am not a technician, I'm not a fitter. Technicians and fitters, in my opinion, especially fitters, they fit new parts. I'm a mechanic, I like to strip them, find out what's gone wrong and see if I can repair them. Obviously again, a lot of modern stuff now you can't do that, which is unfortunate as it's all modular. So it's just bang a new module in and plenty of coding. Another reason why I like the older stuff, you've got to get the spanners out and get your hands dirty basically. I don't have any formal qualifications in motorcycles, servicing or repair, but I have worked with quite a few lads over the years who do. I've obviously picked up various hints and tips off them. But it's the vast majority of it's self-taught or just skills that I've transferred over from the vehicle workshop, if you like. So yeah, there you go. That's that. Next question I had was about the rear suspension. What type of shock absorber is it? There it is there. So it's a monoshock or mono shock absorber. So obviously it's a singular shock absorber with a coil spring around it, and obviously it is adjustable, so you just adjust it on the bottom there with a C-spanner or a hammer and screwdriver if you're a bit naughty. So yeah, there you go, gas filled mono shock. So last question for today. There is a few more questions, but I'll save them for another video. Yes, we're drinking coffee again as well. My choice of tools, what is my personal preference? When it comes to tools, I am a little bit of a tool snob when it comes to certain things. The likes of spanners, ratchets, stuff like that. I do like snap-on, but again, that's personal preference. Something I've used for a long time and probably will continue to use. Obviously I've also got Mac tools as well, and then you can kind of go down the scale a bit. You've got the likes of US Pro, Bergen. Again, it's good quality stuff, you know, it does the job. And then you can go even further down the scale. So we've got the likes of that there we go, Parkside. It's from Lidl, and just a set of screwdrivers, and it's hammer food. You don't mind if you break them, you don't mind if you lose them, you don't get too upset about it. You know, you break a snap-on screwdriver, it's 25 quid to replace it if you've misused it. Not that I've ever misused a tool, ever. So yeah, basically you get what you pay for, and providing it's decent enough quality, it'll do the job. Sorted. So another question I've had is, why did I decide to video the whole thing, put it on YouTube? Top and bottom of it is, I wanted to. I've seen a lot of other projects out there that people have videoed, put on YouTube and stuff like that, and personally I find them quite interesting. So obviously there's more than me in the world, so there's more than me that would find it interesting. So I thought maybe somebody would find it interesting what I'm doing. Even if I please one person, that's me happy. So I haven't done this for financial gain or anything like that. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I think it's completely and utterly off my own back that I'm doing it. I'm not hunting for sponsorship or anything like that. Literally, I'm doing it for the pleasure because I want to. And if you're enjoying the videos, happy days, I'll keep doing them. If you don't enjoy them, it's absolutely fine. I don't mind. I'll still probably keep doing the videos though, because I'm enjoying this side of it. Yeah, easy as that. So that's a very quick Q&A. A couple of questions I've touched on there. There is a few more questions which I will work through, but I'll put them into another video. Obviously, if anybody else has got any other questions, I can't get my words out. Anybody else has got any other questions, just do send them in, and I will answer them for you as best I can anyway. So don't claim to know everything, but I do know some stuff, and stuff that I don't know, I will try my best to find out for you. Right, so let's get on with the jobs we're doing today, which is stripping the wheels. Right then, so you can see I've got the front wheel here. Obviously bearings are still in there. You can see the edge of the speedo drive as well. And obviously 2 discs. So first things first, we're going to take the discs off. And if you've done these before, you'll know fine well, these have got a nasty habit of rounding and not coming out. So hoping they're going to come out. So obviously it's just these Allen bolts around the edge there, so we'll just whip them out. Right, so you can see we've got most of the bolts out now, bar one. So last one there, which is now finger tight. There we go. And the disc should just lift off. Right, we'll do the other side. So there's the other side disc now. Obviously you can see I've got all the bolts out. No problems at all, thankfully. And again, disc will just lift straight off. So next we'll do the bearings. So firstly we'll remove the dust seal from what Honda like to call the gearbox side, if you like, but obviously it's just where the speedo drive pickup is. So I have already half popped this out. So there we go, there's that bit out. So the next bit's pretty straightforward. So you can see there we've got the little lug there, caked in grease. And you can see there's a little sort of cutaway in the actual rim where it sits. So all we need to do is pop that out. Pretty straightforward so far. So we'll flip the wheel over now. Now again, on this side, we just need to remove the dust seal. There we go. Obviously that exposes the bearing. And next thing what we're going to do, we're just going to get a punch down the inside of there. So on the inside of the bearing race on the opposite side and knock it through. Right, so you can see I've got a punch through the centre of the wheel there. Now what I'm doing there, hitting the back, and the other end of the punch is just sitting on the edge of the bearing race, and it should knock it out from the other side. So last couple of taps, remove that, and hopefully, there we go, there's the bearing and centre sleeve out. So obviously we've just got the other side bearing to do now. So you can see we've got the bearing out this side, and we've just looked through there, you can just see the edge of the other bearing. So we'll just knock that out. So there we go, there's both the front wheel bearings out. Now looking at them, they do look pretty old. Obviously we are replacing them anyway. The aftermarket ones. Yeah, it looks like they've been replaced at some point in the life. Aftermarket ones, but they are starting to sound a little bit roller skatey anyway. But obviously we need these out so we can get the wheels painted. So, rear wheel. Now it's much the same process as what we had for the front wheel. So we need to remove this dust seal first, like that, and that exposes the bearing. And you can see the grease in the bearing has started to go off, so just as well we are replacing it. So again, same process we did before, we'll just obviously knock these through. So there we go, there's dust seal, 2 bearings and the centre shaft out. Now the only bit we've got left to remove on the rear wheel is there's a little rubber seal that sits around there, which is obviously, that's where the cush rubbers would live. There's this little rubber seal which we'll take out now and put somewhere safe. Right, so next is the final drive. So obviously again there is another bearing inside of here, which is why you get 3 wheel bearings for the rear. So what we're going to do is obviously remove the rear sprocket, and then exactly the same process again. Remove this dust seal and knock the bearing out. If you were just replacing the bearing, you wouldn't actually need to remove the sprocket, but because we're replacing it, we are going to remove it, obviously. So there we go, you can see I've got the nuts off the sprocket now, just 17 mils, just take them off, and then your sprocket will lift off. Whoops. And then obviously it exposes the rest of the final drive. Looks a bit grotty. So, like I said before, exactly the same process. Just going to get a screwdriver in, remove the dust seal, and then we're going to knock the bearing through from this side. Obviously, fortunately, you can get on the back quite easily, and then we'll just knock that through and remove it all together. And there we go, there's the bearing out. So obviously this there, we're going to give a bit of a wire brush up, and obviously we'll get this in for blasting as well. Obviously there the cush rubbers I took out in an earlier video. I'm a bit sorry for themselves, but we are replacing them anyway. So there we go. So just while we're on with the likes of wheels and what have you, so we might as well check the speedo cable. Overall, it's in good condition, showing a little bit of wear and tear here and there, but it's for the most part alright. Now how these work is, in the back of there, we've also got these little keyways, which would then attach to this, which we took out the front wheel bearing. And as the wheel spins, it turns those keyways, as you can see. Now if you watch the end of the cable, see that spins, and then that corresponds to a reading on the clocks by turning the clock springs. Pretty straightforward stuff. It's technology that works, and I like it. So we're not actually going to replace the cable, as it is in good condition. Obviously, yes, it wants a good clean up, but apart from that, it's fine. Now I thought I'd found myself something good there. So in ratcheting about in the garage, I did actually find another sprocket. However, that's a 46 tooth sprocket, and that's a 43 tooth. So sadly, I'm not going to fit this one. I can't remember what I bought it for. I bought it for something, obviously never used it. So yeah, so we'll get the 43 tooth instead. So there we go, there's the wheel stripped down apart from the tyres. So obviously I'll be pulling the tyres off, I'll probably do it next week. I want to take them in and get them on the tyre machine. We'll get them in for blasting, get a coat of etch primer on them, and take it from there. Obviously we haven't decided what colour we're taking them yet, because I haven't decided on the final colour scheme. But I'll have to pull my finger out and decide what colour we're going, so we can progress a bit further. Next on the list is we're going to titivate the engine a bit. Now the engine is in overall good condition, it is just looking a bit tired. We're obviously going to be checking valve clearances and the like. We're not going to do a complete engine strip down, as it had one done not a million years ago, and I know it's in good condition. Engine itself does look tired, so we are going to tidy it up a bit, but performance wise and stuff like that, it's still brilliant, or should be. I'm probably going to end up eating my words here when it doesn't start or something like that, but there you go. So yeah, so obviously we need to get the side casings off, stuff like that, tidy them up, tidy the blotter up, what have you. So yep, that'll be the next one. Obviously I'm going to put it on the bench now, probably pull the side covers off, and you can, viewers, do that. Exciting stuff, I know, but there you go. So thanks for watching again, and we'll keep going. There we go, engine's on the bench. You can see the oil filter does have a ding in the end of it. That's my fault, where I have just dropped it trying to get it onto my bench, because I'm an idiot and I lifted it myself. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to whip out these, which are actually copper sealing rings, believe it or not. So we'll get them out, and we're going to give the studs a good drink, and we'll try and get those out as well. So we're just giving the manifold studs or exhaust studs just a good drink, and the sealing rings plenty of lube, as you can never have too much lube. Works wonders. And if I actually get these studs out without snapping them, I will be amazed. I think I'll put the lottery on. So let's give it a bash. So the sealing rings are relatively straightforward to get out, so just a pick and they'll just pop out like that. There we go, there's two. Oh, this one's fighting us. Another one, and the last one. This one's fighting us as well. There we go. So there we go, there's the sealing rings out. Obviously we do need to clean up all the inside of here, but we're going to put a little bit of rag in the ports, just so we don't drop loads of carbon down there and end up twatting a valve or something like that. So next up is we need to remove the studs. Now this is the dread of many a person, I know. I hate doing it myself, as there is so much that can go wrong. So the best method I've found to getting them out is, obviously you can use heat, but I don't particularly want to do that, just with it being aluminium. Obviously I don't want to damage it. So what we're going to do first is, obviously plenty of lube, we're going to give them another good lubing up, and then we're going to put two nuts on there, and I'll show you a little method that an old school mechanic taught me that does work 80% of the time. So what I've done there is, you can see the exhaust stud, and I've put two nuts on it, back to back, right? And I've tightened those up as tight as I can get them against each other. Now hopefully I'll put a 10mm on there, and you can see, and focus there, that the stud is starting to move. So we'll just go nice and steady and extract the stud all the way out. So there's one out and only 7 to go. So check back with us in a little while. So those two are out. Oh dear. This one snapped, that one's out. That one sees solid and will not move. But that one's out, and that one's out. So 2 out of 8. So it's not too bad. So next step is we're going to have to get a little bit of heat on here, perhaps weld a nut on the end, see if we can get that out that way, and obviously the same for this one. So basically the exhaust studs has turned into a 2-hour ordeal, and I'm sick of them. So what I'm going to do next is quickly whip the rocker box off, that bit, and then have a quick look on the top end, and that'll be it for today, because I'm cold, tired, and I've run out of coffee. So you can see we've got these bolts out of the rocker cover, so just all 10mm straight out. And now
top end. Lovely. So obviously we've got the rocker box off there. Now I gave it a rub over with a wire brush to get the thick of the crap off, and I've also gave it a going over with a little bit of Scotch-Brite. Now it is aluminium, so you can polish these up if you want, and they do look quite good when they're polished up. However, because there is a little bit of pitting here and there, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to give it a coat of paint, try and blend it in with the rest of the engine and what it should look like as standard. So you can see I've got the breather there, just a little bit of masking tape over that, and I've just got it suspended. I'll just give it a coat of brake cleaner, mechanics panel wipe if you like, and then we're just going to give it a coat of etch primer and see what it looks like. So there's a coat of etch primer on, and we'll see what it dries like.
So that's it for today's video. It's turned into a rather traumatic experience with those manifold studs, but we'll get a bit of heat on them, we'll get them out, no bother, I'm sure. And waiting for the primer to dry. It does take about 24 hours for that to harden, and we'll get a coat of paint on, see what it looks like. If it turns out shite, we'll just strip it off and start again. It'll be a couple of days now before I put another video up, because I don't really want to inundate you with these videos, because you'll probably stop watching them. But yeah, so hope you enjoyed it again, and thanks for watching, and see you next time.